So the problem, coming back to money, is fiat currencies aren't anchored in energy. When we were on the gold standard, theoretically, during the gold age, 1870 to 1914, if a dollar was convertible in a 20th ounce of gold, right, and you really pegged it hard to gold, then you're anchoring the currency into a hard asset. Now, gold isn't fixed in supply. The gold supply increases at 2% a year, 2 to 3% a year. So if you're on the gold standard, that means that the supply of money would be increasing at 2% a year, or otherwise doubling every 35 years. So money under the gold standard, perfectly executed, bleeds energy every 35 years. It's got a half-life of 35 years. But that creates stable prices, Tom, because the economy grows at 2 to 3% a year. So if the economy grows 3% a year, if the money loses 3% of its value a year, then everything kind of stays stable, right? The demand increases, the supply increases, right? That's a good situation. In that case, you can save your money, and 30 years from now, your money will be worth as much as it is today. Now, if it turns out that you're saving your money and the supply of money is increasing at 7% a year, then the money is cut in half every 10 years, right? And so that means in 30 years, the amount of money you have will be cut in half once, twice, 3 times. So you would have 12.5% of your wealth in 30 years saving money under the fiat standard, under a 7% regime. Now, 7% was about the rate that the US was inflating the dollar supply. But in the developing world, in weaker countries, you would see them inflate the money supply about double that, 14%. So the half-life of their money is 5 years. The half-life of the dollar is 10 years. Most people don't even notice 10 years as half-life, except that anecdotally, if you asked anybody in the past 20 years, are you going to save your life savings in a checking account that earns 1 or 2% interest in dollars? They would tell you no. I know intuitively the cost of a college education is going to go up. The cost of a house is going to go up. I can't just save in dollars that generate 0% interest. So under the fiat standard, the money supply is expanding from 7 to 14% a year, depending on where you are, until we got to COVID. And in COVID, everything doubled. And so you started seeing a much more rapid collapse in the value of fiat currency. The US dollar expanded the money supply 15 to 20% a year. And so in the US, we expanded the money supply maybe 40%. And so US single family homes went up in price 40%.
Oh, God.
I think about the correlation. The price of a house is 40% higher than it was 24 months ago. The amount of money in dollars is 40% higher than 24 months ago. The number of houses are about the same. The number of people who want them about the same. Makes sense. Now, if you go to other countries, if you look at currencies outside the US in the past 12 months, right? The Chinese currency is weakened 7%, Australian's down 8%, the euro's down 15%, the won's down 15%, the pound's down 17%, South African rand's down 18%, Polish zloty's down 18%, and Japanese yen's down 24% in dollar terms. What's happening? They're printing more money, right? It's even a bigger issue for them. The Japanese have pegged the 10-year interest rate at 25 basis points. And the US 10-year interest rate, right, is more than 10x that. The Japanese central bank is printing infinite yen in order to buy every bond and keep the price of bonds much, much higher than they would otherwise be. So they're holding up the price of bonds by pumping yen in the economy. And the reason, as they do that, the yen crashes against the dollar. But of course, it's even crashing faster against scarce desirable assets. If you price a barrel of oil in dollars, it just got 24% more expensive in Japan.
Why would they do that?
Because they want to prop up asset prices. They have institutions that are holding bond portfolios of yen and they have institutions holding stock portfolios. And if they stop printing yen to hold up the asset prices, those portfolios of assets will crash.